Hello all, welcome to Autobot YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn how we can convert a string to date time format. Okay, so there can be situations like we may be getting the date from some application, like suppose if there is a delivery date in one application, okay, and we need to do the calculation like what is the time interval between the delivery date and today's date. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to get the date from the application and we need to convert that to a date format. Then we need to find the interval between today's date and the delivery date, right? Because we cannot get the interval if you are going with a string data type, right? So we have to convert that to a date time format. So today we are going to see how you can do that by converting a string to data type, string to date time format, and how you can do the calculation for getting the interval. Okay, so same like that there can be situations like suppose if I'm getting some date from one application. Okay, suppose the application name is A. In that the date format is dd y. Okay, so that is a format in application A, and if I need to input the date to some different application as part of this RPA flow, what I have to do, I have to convert or I have to change the format of this date to different format. Okay, suppose in B, if the format is like dd yy, means what I have to do, I need to convert this date which I'm getting from application A, and I need to input to application B. Okay, so like that way we can do lot of manipulation in this date format. So I'm going to show you that with a real-time example. So we are going to create a practical demo and I will explain you how you can do all this categorization. Okay, so please do watch the video completely and try to understand, because in some part of your RPA journey you will come across these kind of scenarios. Okay, because maybe we may be working from India, or our client may be from a different location. Okay, so at that time if we need to do some calculation, okay, as part of some application, and as we have to work with different geographies, and if we need to do some time calculation, we have to do this kind of procedures. Okay, maybe some time calculation or maybe some date time changes based on the geographies and all. Okay, so this kind of conversions is mandatory in this RPA tool. So please try to watch the entire video and learn the concepts. Okay, so let's start the session. Okay, so before creating the UiPath workflow, let me explain you one Excel sheet which we are going to use for this automation. Okay, so here the requirement is like, okay, we have one template. Okay, we have this template called string date, and in this Excel sheet we have two columns. Okay, date 1 and date 2, which is having two date fields. Okay, and we need to do a interval calculation, like we need to calculate the date difference between these two dates, and we need to insert that in date difference column. Okay, so that is a requirement. Okay, so here what we have to do, if we are getting this value from a data table, it will be in a string format, right? If you are going to get it based on the row basis, we will be getting it like a string, right? So what we have to do, we have to convert these to datetime format, then we need to do the calculation. Okay, so once it is done, we have to insert the interval in this particular column, in this respective column. Okay, so that's what we are going to do now. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to create a new sequence. So here I already created a new project called a string date process. So I'm going to create a new sequence. I'm going to name it like date string demo. Okay, I'm going to click on create. Okay, so what should be the first step? I need to read this Excel sheet, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activities, I'm going to use Excel application scope, just drag and drop the activity. Okay, So I hope you are aware about these activities, Excel application scope. So this will help you to work on the Excel activities that is available in UiPath. Okay, so this will work like a container. Okay, for doing all the Excel activities. What is the name? String date. Okay, string date dot excel sx. Right. So this is the file. And what is the next step that we need to do? We need to read the Excel, right? So I'm going to use a read range. Just drag and drop that. So what is the sheet? It should be sheet 1, right? So we have the data inside sheet 1. So I'm just going to retain the same. And we have to create a data table. So let me click on Control K. What should be the name? My data table. Okay, and do I need to include the header? Yes, I need to include. Okay, so that part is done. Then what should be the next process? We have to loop through each of these rows, right? So we have to loop through each of these rows and we need to do the calculation, right? So what we need? We need a for loop. So I'm going to use for each row. For each row in my data table, right? So I need to loop through each row inside my data table. Okay, so that part is done. Then what's the next thing that I need to do? I need to get the value, right? So I need to get this value as well as this data to value, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use assign activity. I'm going to use multi-assign. Okay. I'm going to create a variable. Okay, let me name it like date1. Okay, I'm going to create a new variable data2. Okay, so both these variables are going to hold the value for this respective column. Okay, so if you're going to use it in a loop, means the first value will be like a 30 05 992 for date1, and for date2 it will store this value. Okay, so what should be the variable type? It should be a string. Okay, so that is generated as a string. And here what we have to do? What is the value that we need to get? It is like current row. From this current row, we have to get the value of date1, right? Date1 is nothing but the value of this column, right? We have added the add header while reading the range. So we have to go with the column name. Okay, so date1.toString, it will give you this value. Okay, then what is date2? We have to do the same thing. I'm just copying and paste it over here, and the column name should be current row date2. Okay, so this will hold the value of these fields. Okay, so we got the column 1 value as well as the column 2 value, right? So what's next step? We need to calculate the difference. Okay, so for that I'm going to create a new variable. I'm going to name it like date difference. Okay, click on enter, and here we need to give the formula, okay, for converting this string, that is date1, to date time format, and we need to subtract that with the date2 after the conversion. Okay, so let me open it in advanced editor mode. Okay, so what should be the format? It is like date time dot, we have to pass it, okay, parse exact. Okay, then we have to give the parameters. So what is the first parameter? We need to convert the date1, right? That is a string that we got from the Excel. So we need to convert that to what is the format that we are getting? It is in dd mm yyyy format, right? So we have to give the format of our string. Okay, so this is the format into which that we are going to convert our date. Okay, so we are going to convert this date1 string to a datetime format with this dd mm yyyy format. Okay, Then what we have to give? We have to give system dot globalization dot culture info dot current current UI culture, okay, dot date time format. Okay, so this is the way that we need to convert. So okay, we started back from here. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so what we have to do? So the first part is done for date 1. So the similar way we have to do it for date 2 also, right? So what we have to do? Minus date 2. Okay, so from first date we are going to subtract date 2. Then what we have to do? We need to convert this into a string, correct? Okay, or let me do one thing. Let me click on OK. Okay, so currently it's there in a date difference, right? Let me add a message box, and I will show you how this data is currently generating. Okay, so let me drag and drop this for loop activity, sorry, message box activity. Let me put date difference. Okay, let me execute this one. Validation error. The private multiply indicator cannot assign the type. The following cannot assign the type. System dot string. Okay, so here we'll be getting it in string format, right? So I'm just converting that, okay, to string. Now the error should go. Run file. Okay, so this is calculating the difference. Okay, from date 1 to date 2, it is calculating the difference, and it is showing it in this particular format. Okay, so this is like a dd mmyy, like that format it is showing. Okay, and minus 29. Okay, like this way it is showing. So what we have to do? We need to get only the day, right? We need to only get the difference between the day. So what I'm going to do is, let me interpret this. Okay, here I'm going to just change it to, okay, string d. Okay, so to this format I want to convert. Okay, let me click on OK. Let me try to run it. Now let's see how it is generating. Okay, cannot assign to date difference, right? To date difference. Okay, cannot. Okay, so let me make it to date. Let me save it and run the execution. Okay, so now we are getting the date difference. Okay, so here you can see the date is like 1st of December, and here it is 5th of December, and the date difference is 4 days. Okay, so now the calculation is working fine. Okay, so this is the way how you need to write the function. Okay, so this is the way how we need to write the function to do the calculation between two dates. Okay, so here what we are doing is we are converting the string to date format, to this date format, and we are doing the difference. Okay, by subtracting from the next date, we are calculating the date difference, and then we are converting that to this particular format. So we just need to get only this date, so we are converting that to the day format. Okay, Okay, so our calculation part is done. So what is the next step? We need to insert the interval to this column, right? So once we complete the calculation of these two dates, in interval calculation of these two dates, we need to insert that to this C column, right? So what I'm going to do is just search for right cell, okay. Then the sheet name is sheet 1, that is correct. And what is the value that I want to add? That is date difference, right? And here the tricky thing is where I need to insert the value, okay. So I need to insert that to column C, correct, and we have to add the loop, okay. So for each calculation we need to iterate through each rows and we need to insert that in the C column, okay. So I'm going to write comment. So what is our data table? So that is my data table dot rows dot we need to get the index of the particular row, okay. So index of what is the value? Current row, right? So that is the type variable. So we have to get the index of current row. So if you're considering Excel, like what will be the starting index? So it will start from 0, right? So if you want to insert that, or if you want to start it from this particular field, what we have to do? We need to add it with the number 2, right? Then dot to string. Okay, so that part is done. So what we have done? We took our data table dot rows dot index of this current row. Okay, so in this particular my data table, we are calculating what is the index of this current row. Okay, then we are adding 2 to make the proper indexing. Then we are converting that to string. Okay, so currently that part is done. So let me save it and run the script. Okay, so for this first calculation, we got 10,593 as the difference. Okay, so this should get inserted to this particular cell. Let me click on OK. Okay, that field got entered. The next difference is 04. Let me click on OK. That got entered. Next is 29. Okay, that got entered. Next is 27090. Okay, so this is how you can do the date difference if we are getting a value in a string format. Okay, so first we have to convert that to date format, then you have to do the difference. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, so now we have seen how you can use the datetime.parseexact to do the conversion from the string to datetime format, and how we can do the subtraction of the date to get the interval, right? Even I have showed you like how to use the dot to string method for converting one date format to another one. Okay, so I will show you another method for converting this string to date. Okay, so that is the method cDate. Okay, for that I'm going to create a new sequence. Let me name it like okay, cDate. Create. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let me add an assign activity. Okay, so suppose if I'm entering a date, I need to get the interval from current date. Okay, so how we can do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a string. Okay, so I'm going to name it like a current date. Okay, and here what should be the formula? So it should be like now. Okay, so now we'll give the current time now dot date. So it will give you the current date, today's date. Then what I have to get? Dot to string. So what should be the format? It should be, I'm going to give it like a okay dd yy y. Okay, This type you can change, okay, as per your need. You can change this date format. So this will give you the current date. Okay, so if you want to display it, let me add a message box. Okay, so let me execute this script. Okay, so I'm getting the today's date. Okay, so first is the month, then we are getting the date, then we are getting the year. Okay, so that part is done. Okay, so we have generated current date with the format DD YYYY. Okay, so this is the format for current date. So we have to create a new or one more variable to do the calculation. So what I'm going to do is, let me drag and drop the assign activity. Okay, so let me put one date. So it should be in DDYY, right? So I'm putting it like 01, then 30, okay, 2021, and I'm going to create a new variable diff. Okay, okay, so we need to find the difference between both these two dates, right? So I'm going to use the assign activity. Okay, I'm going to create a new variable. I'm going to name it like difference. Okay, and here we need to write the expression. Okay, so for that we need to understand one command, that is date diff. Okay, so we need to understand this function. So inside that, what we have to give, we have to pass three arguments. Okay, so first argument is like what is the value that we need to retrieve. So we need to get the date difference, right? So I'm going to put it like D. Okay, then what is the first value that we need to pass? That is the first date. Okay, so I'm going to put it like this diff variable. For that, currently this is a string variable, right? So we need to convert this to a date. For that, I'm going to use the function cdate, then diff, comma, cdate, current date. Okay, so that's it. String assign activity. Okay, so we need to convert this to a string variable, to string. Okay, so that's it. So let me do one thing, let me print out this difference. Okay, so we are getting the difference. Okay, so this is how you can create your workflows for getting the intervals. Either you can use this date diff function by converting using cdate, or you can use the previous method which I have shown, like datetime.parseexact. Okay, so hope this video is useful and clear to you. And if you're working with this RPA profile, you may have faced this kind of issues, okay, while you creating the workflows. So please try to understand the entire concept and try to do some practicals with these kind of functionalities, like string to date conversion or with a string to integer conversion, because this kind of conversion you will have to use somewhere in your RPA journey. So if you find this video is useful, please share this with your friends. Please comment your valuable opinion. Then don't forget to subscribe our channel. So thanks for watching the video. Bye.